Welcome, my fellow Virgos, to your tarot reading and spiritual guidance. So, Virgo, there's a couple things I want to say real quick. With the recent eclipse in our sign, something in your life is reaching a moment of truth. And I just have a feeling that this reading is going to reveal exactly what that is. There's three words I want to give you for this month: truth, transformation, and relationship clarity. You are no longer overgiving. You are no longer fixing people. And you're no longer staying where there is no alignment. This is the new energy for you. And I feel like it's going to be very powerful. So I'm excited to get into this reading, and let's go ahead and do it. So this is going to be for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising. You could certainly have placements in the sign of Virgo. Many of you are intuitively guided. Something makes you click on that video, and I know it's your spirit guides. I just know it. Um, I often feel like a reading reaches you in your divine timing. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the reading. I'm going to pull the lid down. Mother Mary will open up the reading. I've got the major arcanas back. We are going to use the Gilded Tarot to go deeper. And for the main spread, which I am doing freestyle this month, we're going to use the light seers. But let's start with Mother Mary. Mother Mary, my beautiful Virgos, and those intuitively guided. What advice? What do you want us to know? Moving forward. Boy, I feel like everything about your reading, like I'm getting this sense is everything is moving forward. So some of you may have been in a state of, what's the word I want to use? Stagnation. But I feel like the wheels are now turning. The wheels are turning. Now, the wheels, I have a feeling, is your wheel of destiny, but we shall see. All right, Mother Mary. Enthusiasm. Beautiful. Enthusiasm. This may answer someone's question. You may have come to this reading for this very question. Whatever I am most passionate about is the direction I flow. So if you feel passionate about something, I feel like this is the time to at least put a foot in the, 1 foot in, because I feel like the rest will take care of itself. This is really the energy of gratitude. This is living in the present moment. And living in the present moment just makes it so much easier to really receive your spiritual signs, your guidance. Remember, your intuition is guided by your spirit. So it's your guiding light. So enthusiasm, I'll take it. All right, let's bring in the major arcanas. And for anybody new, I really just use these as, not that I use them, they're really just bullet points in our readings. Boy, I feel like, okay, those are them. Like they came out. Okay, see what we got. The world. The next chapter. When you see the world, something's come to completion. But the first thing I think of is, again, you're no longer overgiving. You're no longer fixing people, especially those who don't want fixed. And you're no longer staying where there's no alignment. So I feel like the world's speaking to you. Um, because I feel many of you knew instantly, like, I know what this means, what needs to come to completion. But the world is about the next chapter. And the Fool is in the middle of the world. The willingness to take a leap of faith, in your own life, on yourself. The Hermit. So, Major Arcana for Virgo. I love how the Hermit's back is to the world. And some may read that as like, the Hermit's not paying attention. But I feel like the Hermit is paying attention. The Hermit, it feels like what's come to completion for some of you is, I feel like you found some spiritual clarity that you've been seeking. The Hermit is either going into a cave or emerging from a cave. Well, this one is emerging. And even just how he has his hand on that belt, which is really a snake, and the illumination. So the Hermit doesn't have to worry about these snakes in the grass. This lantern will illuminate everything for the Hermit. This is about your spirituality. Everything you've learned along the way. Think of nine as a reflection, final reflection. So I feel like this is saying that many of you know or maybe something's already come to completion. I feel like you have the wisdom you need to now begin anew. The Empress, beautiful. The mother figure, the creative one, powerful. It's like you have emerged into the energy of the Empress. And what does that mean? Well, the Empress. This is someone who has been through a lot. I often feel like she's gone through all the trials and tribulations of all the queens. And it's about the reflection she's done and how she became the Empress through her spirituality. By the way, you are the Empress. And then, interesting, we have the Hermit. Or not the Hermit, we have the Hierophant. And you know what I love about the Hierophant, especially this image? It literally looks like he or she is about to give a blessing over your life. I feel like, for many of you, I feel like there's been tremendous growth in your life, especially on a spiritual level, but really in all areas of your life. The Empress is sitting there with a beautiful bounty on her lap. And, the Empress, the creative one, this is someone who, really pays attention to her guides, because she knows, like, the signs, the advice that I'm given. It's only to make my life even better or to expand oneself, to expand one's soul. As soon as I said oneself, I heard no, one's soul. And even the Hierophant, interesting, the Hierophant mirroring the world, with the world talk about something that's coming to completion, and the Hierophant is a number 5. And 5 is change. But again, I feel like there's nothing to worry about here. If anything, I feel like you are about to have a blessing in your life. And this may be what brings you to the energy of enthusiasm. It could be, I just get the sense that it's going to be something surprising, but undeniable. It's like your spiritual team is sending you some type of spiritual gift that I feel you just won't be able to deny that it is from a higher realm. So that feels good. All right. So we're just going to shuffle and let the cards come out. The way I look at these readings is I'm just allowing your story to unfold in front of us. And wow, there's going to be a few different stories, but let's take what's face up first. So we start with the Hierophant. Double tars on the board already. But again, this may be, I feel like some of you have already gone through this energy of, just asking yourself, it feels like what has not been aligned, like it now. And I get the sense of you're not taking it anymore. Interesting. Then we have the Eight of Pentacles, but it did come in reverse. We have the Six of Pentacles. And then we have these down here. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Look at that, right under the Empress. Beautiful. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles. I'm actually going to slide these over. And then the King of Cups can be, boy, I wanted to say Virgo again. The second time I wanted to call this King of Virgo. Can be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. But, as I give signs, I want you to understand it doesn't have to be that sign. It's more the energy. So you have this Ace of Pentacles coming in, and it's mirroring the Hierophant. And I felt this Hierophant is about to give you a blessing. Well, that Ace of Pentacles to me is a blessing. This means that something is coming into your physical world. And I love this image because you can see the roots, right? So think of this as like a seed. With the Empress here, it might be an epiphany. But then again, it is coming into your physical world. So it may be the way, it may be the money I need to begin something or even free myself from something. Something is coming into your physical world. And I love that it's sitting right next to the Queen of Pentacles, who's holding this big pentacle right in her lap. And why does she have this pentacle? I feel like it's coming from the Six of Pentacles, empathetic, compassionate. And I have a feeling this is something I had to learn, right? Like you are very empathetic and compassionate. And that's where that fixing people comes in, right? But not everybody can be fixed, or not everybody wants to be fixed. And I feel like, it's interesting because with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, it could certainly mean like, I lost a job, but then the right job finds me. I like how the Queen is like meditating, like, what am I going to do with this ace? But in a like, wow, what am I going to do with this ace? I also feel for some of you, you've been dealing with a situation or situations that, again, just don't feel like they were aligned. And I feel like this is saying that you're no longer trying, but you're no longer trying to change. the things that just don't want to be changed. Again, whether it's a person, a situation, this blessing is for you and it is due to your growth. I know that. I feel that. And what follows this ace? The king. Well, if this has anything to do about love, this is the king I'd want to see. Because in the upright, this is a king who does value love, values relationships. I often feel like if he was in reverse, I'd say the opposite. But in the upright, I feel like this is someone who appreciates having that partner. If something happens during my day, you'd be the first person I call. And, with the roots of this seed, you want to think about that because I either nurture this seed as the Empress or I ignore it and just let it dry up and die. But because the world is your first card, I feel like this ace it feels like again, a spiritual blessing. Like, I feel like I'm repeating myself. However, by the way, one, two, three, oh, look at that. All pentacles on your top row. Some of you may have quit a job. You may have quit a job or you may be thinking about quitting a job and doing something that you feel called to. And that's exactly what I feel like it's a calling. And you may wonder, like, should I go after it? Well, what does Mother Mary say? Whatever I am most passionate about is the direction I flow. Well, hello, magician. So, we're in the year of the magician. We are all the alchemists this year. It is really powerful energy. And then we have the Two of Pentacles, which really poses a question to you. So, something within this ace becomes a question of, do I or don't I? Will this expand my world or deplete my world? You're looking at it with a logical mind, not a fear-based mind. And I feel like that is free will. Like we can put the energy out there to manifest, and you have the most beautiful energy to manifest. But then something shows up and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Holy crap, did I actually manifest that? Yes. But you know what? I feel like this is also saying that what you're manifesting has true balance connected to it. So if it's a person, they're balanced. If it's a job, I feel like the energy is balanced. That means you must be balanced. This King of Cups may be offering a cup to you. You know what else I love is we have the Hermit mirroring the Magician or the Magician mirroring the Hermit. And 9, final reflection. And then the Emperor, 1, right? And we're in our new 9-year cycle. It's already begun. That's kind of what the world is saying. Let's just look at this as 2026. A lot of you are finding your inner strength like never before. It's like you're putting yourself first, but not in a egotistical way, but loving yourself first, which is so important. We have the Knight of Swords. Hmm. Look at this knight. He's like rushing to his motorbike. Is he rushing to you? Did he hear news that makes him want to reach out to you? The moon. Interesting, because it is mirroring the King of Cups, so it can be Pisces or Cancer. But the moon can talk about uncertainties, but becoming comfortable with that at the same time. I feel like sometimes we want to know the outcome before the journey's even begun. And our guides say to me all the time, life is about the journey, not the ultimate outcome. But this also feels very dreamy. Some of you, it's interesting, I've been getting this a lot. Some of you may have had dreams about someone, but you may not have seen their face. And I feel like that's the way it was meant to be. Interesting. Why? This is what I just got, because for some, it's activating your heart chakra. And I feel like during the day, you may be very busy and you may be missing some signs. Now, don't judge yourself over that because we all do. But I feel like what your guides are saying is if we can't reach you during the day, then we'll reach you at night. And I do feel like it has something to do with this king. All right, let's look at the bottom of the deck. Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles to me, Page of Swords underneath that. Ace of Wands. Interesting. Could certainly talk about two younger energies. What did I get under that? The Ace of Wands. Interesting. So it could talk about two younger energies whose whose hearts are being activated. This could be love that's being drawn in, so to speak. And I want to say, as your money goes, I feel like this is a period of time, and I do want you to think about like you are the alchemist this year. So I feel like for some of you, I do feel like you left jobs. You're starting your own thing. Like you're using the wisdom that you have gained. Page of Pentacles is all about a path of knowledge, right? I'm absorbing, I'm learning, I'm growing. And here's the page that's turned into the queen, that's turned into the empress. And I feel like these are rewards for the growth that you've had in your life. So there's no better time to follow your goals, especially if, well, I was going to say, especially if they're new, but the Page of Pentacles can talk about something you went to school for. It can talk about talents that you already possess, gifts that you already possess. And maybe for some, like some of life experiences, like some of your life experiences are also part of this. It's like when I read tarot, I see my story in like different stories in different readings. And sometimes I point them out, sometimes I don't. I point them out when I feel like it relates back. Okay, let's go ahead and bring in the Gilded Tarot. And let's go over this. Let's go deeper. By the reason, by the way, the reason why I cut my decks, um, in a reading is I want to introduce the new deck into an ongoing reading. That's the way I think about it anyway. You know, everybody's got their own ways. All right. When you see the Hierophant, it does want you to question a few things because it is about change. And with the world being completion first, again, I just feel like this sense of what hasn't morally aligned with me, you're done. You're done. There could be someone you put a lot of effort into that just doesn't seem to grow. And you may be like, well, that's that. That's enough. Look at this, the Ace of Wands. It made its way out. And it's mirroring the Ace of Pentacles. This Hierophant's energy, where it is asking for reflection, it's also activating your heart chakra. It's also activating passion within you. Now, passion for different things. I feel like number one, for your money, for your career. Like some of you literally have been getting like epiphanies. And you may have questioned, like, is this something I'm meant to do? Well, the answer is yes. Because I feel like what's ever being activated in you, it's being activated for a reason. Like this is its time. And my Virgos are ready. Ace of Wands, it's also action. So the Ace of Pentacles comes into your physical world. Ace of Wands is then taking action over it. I love that it's coming over the Hierophant, so I feel like you can trust that. And I just feel like it was meant to be anyways. Like, I feel like your guides are the ones who are, or divine, I should say, who are taking care of your heart and your money. Why? Because you deserve it. Especially if you can really call yourself the Empress. And remember, the Empress, she doesn't close her heart down. She's loving, she's nurturing, she is herself. She's the highest version of herself. Doesn't mean she's perfect because no one is. And the Empress knows that. Like, I can't shoot for perfection because I'll never reach it, but I'll just do my best. So, if I claim that I'm the Empress, then that means past, let's just say past relationships no longer have an effect on my decision making going forward. I trust my intuition. That's a beautiful thing about the Empress, right? She's very truthful with herself. She trusts her intuition. And even these epiphanies, it's like she knows the right time to bring them about. And I feel for some of you, it's like you were seeking that spiritual wisdom, you found it, and some of you may be like, I don't know if I'm ready. I feel like you are ready. Ready for what? Well, surprises is what it feels like. But I'd like to know more, please. Another ace, the Ace of Swords, over the reversal of the Eight of Pentacles, but yet the Magician right below it. This is your truth, which is important. This is your communication and how you communicate. This can certainly talk about communication coming in. And in this line, where it's all pentacles, it could be asking you to trust your own voice as it relates to, I want to say career, but it might be like a side hustle, like something I do on the side, though my dream is to make it my everyday job. Well, I feel like this potentially, I feel like if you trusted in yourself, and let me just say, I also feel that you don't, this is the type of energy where it's like just putting foot in the water. And it's not about having to know everything. I feel like this is important to say because I feel like deep down, you know much more than maybe you realize. And I also feel as you start moving, well, this must be new with the world, you'll like the right information comes to you at the right time. I already feel like you're a great communicator, but I feel like you need to trust that now. Look at these aces. Wow, the magician again. The Eight of Pentacles, but in the upright this time. Can you see how things are changing? Like here's this queen meditating, holding this ace that's right beside her, meditating on what should I do with this ace? The seed. Do I trust myself enough to create from it? Which is exactly what I feel you're meant to do. If you choose, I definitely feel like some of you are starting new as it relates to your finances. It's like that side hustle becoming your main hustle. Wow. Wow. Ten of Pentacles over the Ace of Pentacles. Virgo, believe in yourself. Trust in your abilities. Create that abundance for yourself. Like the ace is the beginning, it is the seed. And I'm either going to nurture that seed or I'm not. This is showing me you nurturing that seed and look at the outcome. Even though Spirit said, like, don't think about the outcome all the time, think about the journey. And that's what we're seeing, the beginning and the potential outcome, the house of abundance. That is pretty amazing. Some of you are going to see a change in your finances. And this is not a miracle. This is coming from you. It may feel like a miracle. This may be what Spirit was talking about. I love that the Eight of Pentacles just flipped around, and I love that it flipped around over you and the Empress, and then literally produces the Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles, it speaks about the willingness to go into something new, like as the apprentice, but knowing that one day you will be the master teacher. Wow. That one day, I feel like, is sooner versus later. That spark can create true abundance for yourself. Your voice, boy, important in this world. Your ability to manifest, off the charts. And I love that the Magician is coming over the Six of Pentacles, which speaks about balance. And when you're in balance, everything is possible. So here you are, creating something new. And you don't know it yet. You don't know it yet. Well, you kind of do now. But it has the potential. And I have to say potential because of free will. Even your guides can't cross your free will, so how could I? Look at the potential. Look at the abundance. Look at the blessing. You know, and I have a feeling what you're doing has real purpose behind it. So what I'm saying is, you know, I mean, you could be opening up like a secondhand store, but you're doing it with a sense of, I want to help those who can't afford to buy new. You know what I mean? There's something loving behind your intentions. Boy, I bet you someone is thinking about starting like a consignment shop, secondhand store, whatever you want to call it. And if that's the case, do it. Like, do it. Okay. Well, hello, Queen of Cups over the King of Cups. You want to talk about alignment. Now, I do feel like you're the Queen of Cups. Wow. What is happening in your world? She is holding this cup in front of her. You know, I feel, especially for you, that your readings always want to talk about you first, like your abilities, the things that you can do. If you really trust in yourself, the abundance that you can create for yourself and your family. And then I feel like we're moving into potential love. But how do I love that they're like-minded? To me, that means they really both want the same thing. I feel like neither one is like looking to just date and have fun and sleep around, that type of thing. I don't feel that at all. Maybe that's how it used to be. But I feel like this king, it's interesting because his eyes are closed, like he's meditating. And he has a magician right next to him. You have the magician. It's literally connected to your major arcana. He has a magician sitting right next to him. Is he manifesting you? I think so. Seven of Cups. An emotional decision. Yet it's coming over the Magician. Interesting. The Five of Cups over the Two of Pentacles. Okay. I have a feeling this love story has a story. We have the Nine of Swords over the Knight of Swords. And I'm going to come back and talk about all this. We have the Ten of Wands. Interesting, the Ten of Wands under the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, the first thing I'm picking up, Virgo, is some of you were saying, I will never allow myself to depend on another as it relates to whether I can eat or not, whether I can pay my bills or not. I feel like this is a major thing changing within some of you. Some of you, I feel like it's been that way for a little while. But there's some of you right now, that's what you're saying. I am not going to depend on another. But here's the thing. I want to pull you back to the Empress's energy again. Because in this Ten of Wands, this is where all the weight is on your shoulders. But you're definitely learning something here. And maybe what you are learning is that fine art of give and take. And I feel like this king, they may know that. Because I get this sense that they may know that you may not be an easy quest. Five of Cups here. It does make me feel like you may know each other. I do not feel like this is the person who has anything to do with the Ten of Wands. I feel like this is the person who's behind the change of the Five of Cups. Because remember, the Five of Cups, it's asking you to ask yourself, like, are you focusing on the cups that have been knocked over? And therefore making decisions from there? The Nine of Swords? Or have you cleared that energy and said, I'm not going to allow those who put all the weight, maybe of a relationship, even of a job, whatever it may be, on your shoulders? I want to remind you in the Five of Cups, there are two cups behind this person. They don't realize that until they change their focus. And I say this all the time, but you are the best sign for this. When you're dealing with something emotional, turn to your creative house. Why? Because it takes your mind off of it. You know, the Ace of Swords, maybe you're writing things out. Maybe you're writing like a letter to the universe that actually becomes a book. I feel like there's nothing left off the table as it relates to you and what your purpose. By the way, your purpose is just really to be compassionate and empathetic, which you are. So here comes this king offering this cup. I feel like everything feels legit. And if you The Seven of Cups. Let's talk about that for a second. Because I often feel like this is a chaotic day. This cup may be offered to you when there's a lot of things going on. But at the same time, it could change your life, the trajectory of your life. I'm going to go right below. Hello, Nine of Cups. Inner harmony and fulfillment of wishes. Right over the King and the Queen, mirroring that Ace of Wands and the World. I get this a lot in a reading, but the way this knight is like running to his motorcycle to communicate, and this may be someone who actually knocks at the door type of thing, or rings your telephone. But I do get this sense of some of you may have become recently single, and you may have put that on your social media, and somebody hears that. It feels like, okay, I'm going to take a chance. Maybe they've always wanted to take a chance. Three of Swords. All right, so that is part of that Seven of Cups. Whether I accept this King or Queen's cup. The Eight of Wands. What I think about, I bring about, mirroring the Magician. And then the Queen of Swords. Okay, first thing I want to say is be careful you don't overthink. That is one of our tendencies. Because I feel like this King's energy is coming towards you. I feel like they're offering, a hello. And then let's see what happens next. But I feel like at least it's a hello. Okay. So, clearly your heart has been broken in the past. Whose hasn't? But it is showing that previous heartache is still part of your decision making. And even the Nine of Swords, which is about unnecessary worry. It's coming over that communication. And literally is telling you, like, don't overthink this. Maybe if you're interested, like, just allow conversation to open up naturally. And I also want to say, for those who really do want love in their life, you do want to think about, like, the clearing of the past, forgiving. And forgiving is not for them, it's for you. It's so you can have peace. Right? High Priestess, your intuition. This is what you want to trust. This is what you want to trust. So, wow. Financially, creatively, you're on fire. For some of you, this is just the beginning, but you have the potential of really creating quite the world for yourself and those that you love. And it is your wisdom. It is your experiences. It's what you bring to the table. It's all about you. And I mean that in a good way. And then love. Well, love enters. I do feel like the majority of you are single, or let's say you're still connected with someone. Because I'm feeling these again, no longer overgiving, no longer fixing people, and no longer staying where there is no alignment. Here, it definitely feels aligned. Ten of Wands, it wasn't aligned. You carried the brunt of the responsibility. Some of you, you freed yourself. And that may be the very energy that opens the door. Because let's not forget the Ace of Wands, passion ignited. It's go time. Eight of Wands again, twice. What I think about, I bring about. It's almost like you're both thinking the same thing, but it could be faceless. Like, if I'm going to love, I want it to be the soulmate that I'm meant to spend the rest of my life with. So, let's go ahead and bring in the romance angels. I feel it's very clear as it comes to like taking those ideas, those epiphanies, those side hustles, um, being true to you and what it is you want to do in the world. I'm telling you, I feel like there is never going to be a better time. This is the time in the year of the alchemist. And don't forget, that makes you the alchemist. Truly, what I think about, I bring about. So I want to think about what I'm thinking about. All right, but I want to know about this love. Let your friends help you. Ask for and accept support from others. Someone may be setting you up. Healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. Interesting how I spoke about forgiveness. And I don't even know why I did, but now I have a feeling this is why. Look at this. Someone from your past is returning to your life. That is the Five of Cups. That is the Two Cups that sit behind the change. Literally, I feel like someone hears, like my Virgo's single. Romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. And then, wow, worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. You know why I love this card? Is you literally can just let go of the worry. And the healing family issues. I feel like this is so you can have peace of mind. And that's really what the Nine of Cups is. It's inner harmony. And someone coming back into your life. Well, it's this king or the queen, depending if you're male or female, or even if you're same sex. It can be this just, again, put yourself where it fits. Divine timing. is at work in your love life. The feelings are real and they're worth exploring. All right. Anything else? And then we'll let it be. Divine's like, well, would my word's not a good word to end on? Well, you deserve love. You are lovable. And I love this image because it's like she's shooting her arrow, which to me is representing love. She's got someone in mind. It's like across the waters. Doesn't have to mean that someone lives like in a different land. It could be in the same neighborhood. You know, the truth is, I feel like, don't even worry about that. But know that you do deserve love. And I already know some of you are going to say you are not interested in love. That's fine. But look at the money then. Look at your creative house. Look how it's on fire. And whether you accept this cup or not, it is free will. But what I would say is trust your intuition, that first instinct. Because I get the sense that I may get that first instinct, but then I may overthink it. I want to pull that back in. You know, when divine is working in your love life, you have nothing to worry about. You have nothing to worry about. And everything is saying that this is real. This is true. And even if this is someone that you don't know, then you do know them from a past life. But I have to tell you, I do feel like there's a few of you that are changing your status. And when you change your status, someone is picking up on that. Maybe a friend who lets another friend know. Like, did you hear so and so got divorced or so and so is free? No, I didn't hear that. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if I present my cup, if Virgo will even consider it. And I feel like if they're talking to the friend's like, yes, try it. Even if Virgo says no at first, it doesn't really have to mean no. There could be some fear. And you're going to have to get through that. This person's like, I have no problem with that. I understand where their fear is coming from. I've been there. This is why you're so like-minded. And I have to say, oftentimes in the Ten of Pentacles or the Ten of Cups, I don't feel like you're alone. Though, for those who want to be alone, then just know the Ten of Pentacles, it could be your family, like children. You know, we have the Empress, the mother figure. So, I think I'm going to let that be. I think I'm going to let that be. You know, I feel like Mother Mary's message is so important. Whatever I am most passionate about is the direction I flow. You add that with the Magician. All is possible. It may look different than that initial process I put out there, but it would only be better. It would only serve you better. Or it might be exactly the intention you put out there. That passion you're seeking, I feel like it's seeking you too. Yes, there are some issues in here that, have gotten in our way, so to speak. But I see nothing in this reading. I feel nothing in this reading of restriction. Quite the opposite. I feel like if there's been restriction, it's ready to change. It's ready to end. And maybe some of you do need to end it. You know what I mean? Because again, the world, your first card, something has come to completion. But that opens up this beautiful new chapter. And I love it next to the Hermit. Because again, it is your wisdom. And then even the Hierophant, your morals, so you're living life according to your standards. And it's a beautiful thing. And if love shows, love shows. I feel love will show. But I don't want to take away the abundance that I feel many of you want to create. And you may have been asking yourself, when is the right time? Like, is this the right time? Today is the right time. When you get this reading, it's your right time. It's the right time. I don't know how the Magician ended up right in the middle. I don't know when I did that, but look at that. We're in the year of the Magician, and if you look at the Magician, beautiful infinity symbol. As above, so below. No beginning, no end. The Magician is also the Fool's greatest mentor. Magician teaches the Fool. You possess all the tools you need to be successful on any journey you choose. All your tools already on the table. To me, that represents the wisdom that you carry. Like Virgo, what do you want to manifest today? And I'm going to let that be. Get excited. Get excited. I'm excited. I mean, I'm a Virgo, so I'm excited for this energy. And maybe for those who have existing businesses, like you're going to start to see the fruits of your labor. You do have to focus on it. That's what the Eight of Pentacles speaks about. As long as you put your focus on it, on this ace, oh, it will only grow. And it literally grows to the Ten of Pentacles. But that's you doing that. That's your credit. And love, well, Divine's taking care of that. So you don't even have to worry. You don't have to worry. And the ball is put in your court. So I feel like as it relates to love, just try not to second guess that initial feeling, that initial instinct. If it feels good, maybe just take a chance, a little chance. If it doesn't, then don't. Trust your intuition. I feel like there's nothing here for you to fear. But I just wanted to throw that out there in case some do. All right, I'm still talking. I love you guys so much. Truly. You are my soul sisters and my soul brothers. And it gives me great joy to do your reading. Not because I'm a Virgo. Well, that may be a little part of it, but it's not for me. I can do a reading for myself at any time. I just love reading for you. So I thank you. I love you. Your spirit guides love you. Your loved ones in heaven love you. Some of you, this mother figure could be part of all that's coming your way. Amen. And so it is. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.